Hello and welcome to Songkla Rajabhat University's English for Communication 1. My name is Gary Linton. Today we're looking at Unit 2, Part 3, the vocabulary about jobs. So, we're going to start by taking a look at some of the common verbs you might use for a job when you're talking. And earlier in the last video, you saw we looked at using third person singular, he, she, it. But in English we also have other forms of the verb, the past tense, past participle, and the present participle. You might have heard past tense referred to as verb 2, past participle as verb 3. These are examples of a few common verbs. Work or works, that's the infinitive. Worked, we add ed for past tense, and worked is also the past participle. The present participle we use with the continuous forms of tenses. So present continuous, past continuous, and so on. It's also used to form the same can be a gerund, where it's actually used as a noun. And it can be used in other ways. But you'll come across that. If there's an ing, it's the present participle. Working. Go. I go to work. She goes to work. Last week I went to work. I have gone to work every morning. I am going to work now. Come. What time do you come in? She comes home at 5 o'clock. I came home late yesterday. I have come home twice already. I'm coming to work in half an hour. Earn. Earn means to make money. So you saw in the story earlier, I don't earn much. So that's your income or your salary. How much money do you have? I earn, she earns. Last year I earned. I have earned enough money to buy a house. Or I'm earning a living by doing everything I can. Make. Make can have a lot of different meanings. In this case, you might use it talking about your job. Make money. How much do you make? Is how much do you earn? I make. She makes. Last year I made. I have made lots of money during my life. I'm making enough money to feed my family. So those are some of the common verbs you might come across. As you use verbs, watch out for the version you see, especially when they're irregular. If it's just got an ed on the end, it's easy to spot. Work, worked. But go and went aren't so easy. Come, came, come. When it becomes irregular, watch out for the forms. One of the things I wanted to talk about a little today was how difficult English vocabulary can be to learn. There's so much variety to the language, and some words can have very different meanings. And I chose this because work is a good example of this. Here you've got a picture of Cambridge's Advanced Learners Dictionary, the online version, or the electronic version rather. And when we look at work, you can see here it's a noun, but there's several versions. It's an activity, a place, creation, everything, factory, machine, or physics. It's also a verb, to have an effect, to do a job, to operate, to succeed in becoming, to arrange or to shape something. So 7 different meanings for work as a noun and 7 for work as a verb. And that's before we come on to work as a suffix or compound nouns, work ethic, thirsty work. So these words go together. You see the definition for the first version here. This is noun, work as an activity. You see it's got a little A1 there beside it and a U. That tells us that A1 is the CEFR level. It's quite a basic meaning of the word. And an activity such as a job that a person uses physical or mental labour to do, usually for money. I've got so much work to do, as an example. It's also an A2 word there, the material used by someone at work or what they produce. So there's two versions there, one A1, one A2. And you might find when you see the word work, if you only know the first meaning, it can be confusing. The meanings get much more complicated as well. It's really something I wanted to highlight. Here's the verb to work, A1 and A2 again. To do a job, especially the job you earn money at, or to make someone do a job. It can also be to operate a machine, and that's an A2 word, slightly more advanced, and it's the second meaning you would probably learn for the word work. Now, as this is a basic course, I'm not going to try and cover anything more. Really what I want you to see is that if you find you don't understand the meaning of a word, don't be afraid to ask or look it up. Even if it's a word you think, work, I know what that means, but I don't understand. It could be because it's a more advanced version or a more advanced use. Here are some of the phrasal verbs for work. And you'll see these three examples are listed as B1, B2, and C2. Now, my English is at C2 level. I'm a native speaker, so no one's expecting anyone to understand the term work something out. It's mainly a UK term. You can see how many phrasal verbs use the word work, and each of them has its own meaning when used together in that way. We work against something, work at something. Altogether, Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary lists 81 different combinations of the word work. All those phrasal verbs. We also have idioms, probably the most difficult use of words in English, where words are put together and used in phrases that don't mean what the words mean. So you get phrases like work's a treat or works like a charm. It just means to be very effective. So as you're learning, as you're practicing your vocabulary, don't worry if you don't always understand the meaning of a word. Have a good dictionary and don't be shy about asking your friends and teachers for help. Here's some related words that you can try using when we talk about jobs. Employ. You give someone a job, you employ them. Employed, employment, employee, and employer are all variants of that. I am a worker. I work, so I am a worker, the person who does the job. Some different types of work you might come across. You can be a full-time worker, your normal permanent job, working around 40 hours a week. Part-time. I have a part-time job after school. Working less than hours than full-time, but there's no rule for how many. Maybe 10, 20 hours, something like that. Overtime, you saw that from the story, working extra hours on top of your normal daily job. You can have volunteer work, a job where you don't get paid, maybe working for a charity or helping the community. Casual work, we also saw in the story. There's no set hours or pay, not usually declared for tax, where we do things once in a while, but no set routine. There's also a few phrases that if you're not working, if you don't have a job, you might say you're between jobs, which is a nice way to say unemployed. I'm unemployed, not working. Also, for many of you, you're students. So I'm at school, still in school. I'm a student. Job hunting means that you don't have a job, but you're looking for a job. Or potentially you have, but you're looking for another job, a new job. So those are a few words and phrases you can use when speaking about jobs. The last thing I wanted to cover really was a little bit on how some of the words can confuse us, and we use them in slightly different ways. Although we use the words job, work, career to mean very similar things, they can be a bit different. Job is just a noun, it's a countable noun. A job is a regular official activity you do to get money, a salary. Also for a specific task you need to do. So examples, Robert has had 4 jobs in the past year alone. I have had a few jobs to do around the house this weekend. So you notice we can use jobs with an S. It's a countable noun, so we can use it in the plural form. Work, as we saw earlier, work is both a noun and a verb. The word work is more general than job. Normally it refers to general efforts and activities done to make something happen, to accomplish a goal. The word also refers to your place of employment. So I'm at work. I'm at my job. Some examples of that. I work at Tesco. I start work at 7 a.m. I finish, leave, get off work at 4:30. We go to work by car. So you wouldn't say, I job at Tesco. And you wouldn't say, Robert has had 4 works in the past year. Career. This is another noun. Career we use slightly differently from job to really sum up the total progression of your professional life. So a career in teaching, a career in a particular field. So we normally say a career in, and this is where I mentioned before in one of the earlier videos, a field. And this is an area of working. A career in medicine, a career in sales, a career in finance. And you might use that. What field are you in? I'm in medical, I'm in medicine, I'm in sales. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you can use some of the words there and take to heart the idea there's a lot to learn when you're learning English. Don't worry if you only know a couple of the meanings of the word and you find unusual ones and you need to go back to the dictionary. I still have to do that, and I've been speaking it for 50 years, so don't be shy. Don't let it bring you down, and keep learning. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.